So welcome to Austria and the Vienna Comic Con. What does it mean for you to be one of the guest stars here in Vienna?
It's a huge honor. You know, I'm so lucky to be working in this industry where, you know, people are reading my books, looking at my art, and it's amazing how far comics have reached. You know, even 20 years ago, I never would have thought that American comics would become a worldwide, phenomenon.
Because it's a good point. Comics has changed very much in the last years, also because of series and the video games. How does it change for yourself in your view?
Well, I started about 25 years ago, and back then, the things that you hear are people only read American comics in the United States and in England, and in other countries, you know, it was a very, very small market. The fan base was very small, but I think because of the movies and, like you said, the video games, people have become very familiar with these characters. So it's just bringing a whole new audience to the medium.
Does your work changed?
Yeah, my work always changes. I get bored doing the same thing. So if my artwork looked the same as it did 25 years ago, I'm not doing my job properly. I needed to change project to project, you know, month to month. I constantly have to change it.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? How did you start to paint?
To draw comics? I grew up reading comics, so I would buy them, look at them. I would trace the drawings. I would practice. I never thought I'd be able to do it for a living. It was just a passion of mine, and I just got lucky because I went to New York City for a comic book convention. I happened to have some artwork that I was showing around. The people that can give you work are the editors, and the first editor I showed my work to, he just laughed at it and said, "This is terrible." And he would show his colleagues, and they would just make fun of it. And I stood there, and I must have looked like I was about to cry because there was somebody standing next to me who saw that, and he felt sorry for me, and he said, "Hey, why don't you send me samples of your work, just practice, and when you get better, send it to me, and I'll take it to the Marvel offices." And that guy standing next to me was Scott Lobdell, who was a writer for Marvel Comics. So if those editors weren't making fun of me, he may not have felt sorry for me, and he wouldn't have introduced himself and made that offer. So I took him up on it. I practiced for about a year, and I was constantly sending Scott my work. And when he thought it was good enough, he took it into the Marvel offices, and I got a job.
And what was your biggest influence for your style?
That changes all the time too. When I first started out, I was looking at guys like Bill Sienkiewicz, Dave McKeon. These days, I'm mostly looking at photography, movies, drawing from what I see in real life, and the artists that I like that inspire me. Again, that changes week to week. There's so many talented people, and I've just recently discovered Instagram, and now I'm exposed to people that I wasn't even aware of, people from all around the world, and it's kind of like sensory overload. You know, sometimes I'll sit there and look at this amazing art and just curl up in a fetal position and say, "Oh, I can't draw. What am I doing? My work sucks." There's a lot of talented people out there.
Please tell us a little bit about your process of work. How did you work, and how did you make your pictures from the first scratch to the whole picture?
It's hard for me to verbalize. It's something that I just do. I think I'd make a horrible teacher because I can't explain my thought process because there really isn't one. I just kind of make things up as I go. But the short end of it is they provide a script. I read it, and I do thumbnails. I lay it out. Sometimes I just go directly to pencils. Depends on the complexity, and I just start drawing. So the job of an artist is, if you were to compare it to movies, an artist is he plays the role of the director, the cinematographer, the actor. He's just responsible for everything that you see visually.
Just a whole other question. You worked with Stephen King. How was it for you to work with such a famous person and such a big theme like the Dark Tower?
I was really, really nervous. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I'd be working with Stephen King one day. And Dark Tower is such a personal project for him. I didn't know if I could live up to his expectations. But when I first started, the thing that he said was, he's a writer, he's not an artist, so he's not going to tell me how to do my job. And he was very generous with letting me, handle the visual look of the book. And I was incredibly flattered and honored to work with him.
Has he given you any tips, or you had free hand for all your pictures?
I was just provided with the descriptions of the characters from the book, but anything that wasn't in the book, I was free to make it up.
Because I'm a big fan of the Dark Tower comics. You worked on many different projects. Which project you're still wishing to complete, or which is your biggest dream that you say, this character I want to draw sometimes in the future?
My dreams of working on a particular character, it really has nothing to do with the character. It has to do with the writer that I work with. I don't think there's such a thing as a good character or a bad character. You can have good writers that can turn a bad character into a great character. You have writers that can do the opposite. So it really depends on the story. Like when Alan Moore reinvigorated Swamp Thing, before that, who would have wanted to work on Swamp Thing? But look what Alan Moore did with it. So it really depends on the creative team, not the character.
Actual Marvel taking many characters who are not so popular, like Jessica Jones or Daredevil. Which character do you think should be the next one who will be the big star?
I think I'm partial to the Inhumans. I still can't believe that we live in a world where one day we're going to get to see an Inhumans movie. So I'm incredibly excited about that. And they're already introducing them in the TV series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But is there one character you like the most?
No, like I said, it's not really the characters. I never was a fan of the Green Arrow, but I really like the TV show. So it has nothing to do with the characters. It has to do with the creative team behind it. So if they're going to do a TV show, it has to do with the people that are, producing it, writing it, the actors involved. So it's the talent behind the characters, not the characters. I don't care about the characters. They're empty vessels, and it's the creative people that brings life to them.
Is there any comic artist you really admire too?
Yeah, there's so many. I don't even know where to begin. Right off the bat, I'd say Adam Hughes, Travis Charest. I'm drawing a blank, but there are just so many great artists out there, and a lot of artists that I wasn't even aware of. Like I said, when I discovered Instagram, there's just a whole world of talented people that aren't even published, and some of these guys are students, and they're already producing work that that I can only dream of.
Do you have any goals in your life? Did you say, this thing I will achieve?
Yeah, I'm too busy to even think about goals. My goals are just simple. I want to find balance in my life. I want to do my work on time. So my goals are just things that I can control. Anything else are just, dreams that I might have, but it's beyond my control. So I need to focus on the little things in life, not the big things.
Coming back to the Vienna Comic Con, you have been on many other Comic Cons. What are the biggest differences between the Comic Cons, and how do you think about the Vienna version?
Well, this is my first time here, but the great thing about comic conventions is no matter what country you go to, the fans are all the same. They have the same interests. It's kind of like a universal language. No matter where you are, it feels like home. And I think it's an amazing community. And it's very rarely do you see a group of people that, again, no matter what country you're in, they're essentially the same.
Many persons say that Comic Cons are only for nerds and for geeks. Do you think that's true?
Well, look around you at the show. Do you see a lot of nerds and geeks? I just see a diverse group of people. Plus, there's nothing wrong with being a nerd or a geek. Nerds and geeks are cool.
And is there a difference in how you see Vienna now with the people, or like San Diego or New York?
No, the conventions are, again, amazingly similar. You see the people in costumes. You see the same passion that you see at the other shows, and I think it's great to see. I've never been here before, and I never would have thought that you'd have such a passionate group of people.
Last question: will we see you again in Vienna?
I hope so.